There you go. Today's workshop is focused on study abroad for engineering students. So we have invited Jay Menert to present on the offerings that the university does. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Jay.
Thank you so much, Alejandra. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to attempt to share my screen here. Let's see here. Okay. Alejandra, can you see this? Can you see my...
I can see it.
Awesome. Right on. Okay, so welcome again, everyone, to this WISE workshop. I want to thank Alejandra and the Idea Center for inviting study abroad into this space. I really, really wish we could be in person. I know how exciting it is for all of you to be in person this quarter. We're still remote, and we'll probably continue to be remote for a little bit longer. And so we are open though, and we're trying to recruit students for some exciting experiences abroad. And if you're here today to learn about engineering experiences and study abroad, you've come to the right place. So I'm just gonna jump right into it here. And so I want to kind of start by just acknowledging COVID, right? We've been in this situation now for, gosh, I forget when we started, way back in March of 2020, seems like a million years ago. And during that time, as you can guess, study abroad has pretty much had to put on suspension a lot of our travel and a lot of our study abroad experiences. That being said, we have been doing virtual programming as others have been doing, and so we're still in it. And we're excited to say that we are sending students abroad again. We have a smaller cohort of students abroad right now, mostly in Western Europe, and we do have open programs. And I'm going to be talking to you today about what some of those programs are, specifically in the area of engineering. Okay, so the essential message that we're giving out for COVID, I'm hoping that we're on an upslide and that we're kind of putting the worst of it behind us, but we don't know yet. And so with that said, we're encouraging students to create a plan to study abroad. That's your plan A, and then have a backup plan. And our advisors kind of talk through that with the students who are serious about studying abroad, just to have a plan B in case a country, backslides into some problematic public health issues and with COVID and changes stuff around. But hopefully that's not going to happen. So with that said, I wanted to just kind of start out by telling you kind of what the life cycle of a study abroad application looks like for you if you are interested in studying abroad. I know that some of you may have already started this process, and that's great. But for those of you who haven't, we really want students to first go to our website at studyabroad.ucsd.edu and do our first steps session, which is kind of a series of videos. And we have in-person information sessions that talk about first steps or questions you should be asking yourself as you prepare to study abroad. When are you going to go? What's your timeline? Where are you going to go? Are you going to take courses in English, or you want to do another language? Questions like that. And then we want you to come in and, come in virtually and talk to one of our advisors in the office. I'm the engineering guy. I'm happy to talk with you if you're interested in just kind of getting the basics of study abroad, not so much engineering specific. You're welcome to meet with any of my colleagues as we're available to do so. And so after you meet with an advisor, we're going to actually have you go back to the computer and do your research, right? Start to focus on what you want and finding programs that meet what you're looking for. And then once you do that, you want to hopefully get together a list of courses. Let's say you go abroad for a summer program and you're going to take 3 courses in engineering or 2 courses, something like that. You're going to want to take those courses over to your advisor in Jacobs and have them vet those courses and confirm for you, yes, we can potentially accept those courses, or no, you've got to go back to the drawing board. And then when you've had those conversations with your advisor and your advisor in the college, if you want to take some GE courses, then you can start the application and fill it out, and you can work with our office, of course, to do that, any questions that come up. And then you go overseas and you study abroad. And so it's probably a simplistic version, but that's essentially the steps that you're looking at when it comes to preparing for and going on a trip overseas with us. A lot of questions surround our office, obviously, with paying for it. So I always have to throw a slide in before I get into the engineering programs that are popular with our engineering students. Just wanted to kind of mention paying for study abroad. How do you do it? If you didn't know, we have a lot of different programs. And because we have so many different programs, the price point is just kind of all over the place, right? How long is the program? Where is it in the world? Who's the university partner? If you're working with all of those things can affect the price point of a program. And so just know that as you start your research, if you have financial aid, you're welcome to apply that financial aid and use it. We have a financial aid officer in our office who's really great at working with students and getting their questions answered about their financial aid package. And then the other piece is scholarships and grants. You know, I always tell students you're guaranteed not to get a scholarship if you never apply for a scholarship. And so our office offers a ton of them. We have a database, a searchable database on our site. So you're encouraged to apply for as many scholarships as possible. And hopefully one or more will work out for you. Engineering abroad. So when you talk about engineering abroad, I'm going to be focusing today on programs that speak to engineering. But I do want to start out that conversation with a reality check. And what the reality check is this: many engineering students study abroad at UC San Diego and don't take any engineering abroad. They'll take courses for their general education requirements. And that's fine. That's totally great. You can totally do that. And frankly, will open up a lot more opportunities in terms of, you know, everywhere offers general ed type of courses. So you have choices. However, that being said, a lot of our engineering students would like to take engineering focused courses or engineering type work, like in internships or research abroad. And we are seeing growing numbers of engineering and STEM students wanting to take courses in their majors. And so our partners have responded to that, and they started building in more and more options for engineering, which is what we are going to cover now. So the first thing is, when you talk about studying abroad at UC San Diego, you have a lot of different programs to choose from. If you've ever heard of Global Seminars, that's a UCSD faculty-led program. Summertime, take 2 courses overseas. They don't have anything in engineering in Global Seminars, not yet anyway. And so you would be doing Global Seminars most likely to fulfill a couple of your gen ed requirements. We have our largest and most popular program is the UC Education Abroad program, and that's called EAP or UC EAP. And if you know the UC system, you've probably heard that before. It is only open to UC students. And so if you go abroad with the UC EAP program, you're likely going to be sitting in classes or sharing your experiences, not only with Tritons, but also with students from UCLA, Riverside, Santa Cruz, you know, all over our system. And so I find that when I work with students, what's really attractive to engineering students, and more students than just engineering, but what really is attractive about EAP to especially engineering or STEM students is you get UC credit with EAP. Classes that you take, you earn UC credit automatically. And then how you apply those classes towards BioEng or CSE or ECE or whatever depends on your advisors, of course, saying, yes, we can take that. But you will be getting UC credit automatically through EAP. And also, if you're receiving any kind of UC-based financial aid, you can potentially use that aid towards EAP. And I'm going to really focus a lot on EAP because that, frankly, is where most of our engineering students go to study abroad in engineering. And I'm going to mention some other stuff beyond EAP towards the end. But the slide you're looking at is a screenshot that I took of the tabs on the EAP main page. And you'll notice under student resources, there's a database I want to let you guys know about. It's called the UC EAP course catalog. That is a repository of classes that students have taken through EAP in the last, I think, 5 years. They keep it on. And so you can find courses through there. But the easiest place and a really great place to find courses while you're looking at programs in EAP, every program in EAP is going to have a series of tabs. One of those tabs is going to be the academics tab. And when you click on the academics tab, you can find the EAP course catalog that I'm showing you now in the area that you're looking at, in the program area. And then also, if you click on academics, you will find the link to the actual class, to the actual classes that are offered at that program or at that university. Keep in mind that the EAP course catalog only shows courses that have already been taken by students. So it's going to be a list, but it's not going to be necessarily the longest list. All of the courses potentially you can find on the actual host university's website, accessible through the academics tab of EAP. Furthermore, another area, if you belong to CSE as a major, or you belong to MAE, or you belong to ECE, those three areas, those three majors have some courses that students have previously taken in those majors, and you can check out those as well. All right, I'm going to start out by mentioning Sweden. Sweden is an interesting place. Not a lot of people might have thought about Sweden, but I'm here to tell you that EAP has been working with a university in Sweden called Lund University in Malmö, Sweden. And we have seen a steady uptick in engineering students because Lund has a fantastic engineering school. They have a lot of different engineering disciplines. And so if you're working in an area or sub area of engineering, this might speak to you. The cool thing about Lund is even though everyone in Sweden speaks Swedish, all the courses are taught in English. And so that can be very beneficial to us Americans who are going over there. A lot of engineering options. They don't have any summer, but they do offer fall and spring. And they used to have the GPA requirement at 2.85, but I just noticed as I was preparing for this presentation that they seem to have lowered it to 2.75. So, and it's open to juniors and seniors or third years and so on. And so keep in mind when I put down fall and spring, I'm talking about semesters. And so I'll quickly just speak to that. We're a weird system in that we, for the exception of Berkeley and Merced, we're all on the quarter system, right? And so that means that if you go abroad for a fall semester somewhere overseas, you're going to be looking at the calendar that's roughly the same as SDSU or another semester-based school. You're going to be leaving probably late August or early September and going until December for fall. That means you only have to be gone from Jacobs for 1 quarter. If you choose a spring semester option, a lot of those programs start in January and end in May. So you're going to be looking at being gone from Jacobs for 2 quarters over spring. Because of that calendar issue, most of our students do summer, to be honest. But the next popular time is a fall semester program because of that fact that you only have to worry about being gone for 1 quarter as opposed to 2. But Sweden is a great opportunity. It's a great place to take engineering courses. It's relatively close to the city of Copenhagen, next door in Denmark. And so you have access to a big city like Copenhagen, but you also have access to the rest of Europe because Sweden being in Europe. So that's something to consider as an option. Another real popular option is summer programs. And again, full disclosure, I'm only listing here some of our most popular programs. I'm not listing everything. So get on our website, get on EAP's website, and you can research all of your options. But in terms of summer, we have EAP has been doing these research opportunities where students would work with a small team of engineering students with an engineering faculty on some kind of an engineering focused project. And then the popular ones we have is Japan, STEM research in Osaka. We have another one in Tokyo. And then we have one in Singapore, Taipei, and Hong Kong. Generally speaking, knowing the Japan advisor, she tells me, and we see this every year, Japan is always the most popular program. And, I don't want to dissuade you from applying for a research program in Japan, but just know that the Osaka and Tokyo ones are really popular. If you weren't that set on going to Japan, you could maybe go to Taipei or you could go to Singapore or Hong Kong. Those options might be a little less competitive in terms of impacted programs, but, talk with our office, talk with our Japan and other advisors, and you might decide to go for it. You never know. A quick word about impacted programs. Not all of our programs are impacted. Some are, meaning impacted, meaning we have more students than we have spots for, right? if a program is impacted, we don't want our students to apply for a ton of programs because we won't know which one is really your interesting one, which one you want the most. So we encourage you to apply for the program you want. If it is impacted, then our advisors would work with you and say, okay, you know, if we can't get you into this program, let's work on a plan B, that kind of thing. So these are, again, our full-time summer lab research. The cool thing about these is these are also in English, and just a lot of great hands-on opportunities in engineering to check out. Other summer opportunities, just listing some here for you. A popular one, or one that we've seen kind of grow, is Python and data science. And that's done at the UC Center in Madrid. So EAP works with individual universities like the University of Lund in Sweden and so on. And we have a direct relationship with those programs at those universities. But EAP also has open UC study centers all around the world. Madrid being one of them. And so the Python and data science program is done out of the Madrid UC Center. And I've talked to engineering students. I don't think, you know, if you don't have that requirement, you may not be interested, but if you did want to learn Python, and, you know, we'll go into that foray, it might be a fun summer to do that. Other really popular programs for engineering students to do over the summer would be the United Kingdom. The UK offers a ton of opportunities, and they have amazing schools and can offer a lot of STEM-based courses, including engineering. And I would recommend that you look into Queen Mary. They have a summer school in London. It's right there in London. It's a great school. There's also University College London. They have a summer school as well. And so, you know, there's several different options in London town and around that area. And so, you know, if you wanted to go to the UK, certainly have that option to do that. Around Europe, you also have Maastricht, which is a summer international summer school. And one area that's been really growing in popularity in terms of engineering students is the Technical University Summer Program in Berlin. That's all those programs are taught in English over the summer school. And then Yonsei at South Korea. South Korea is one of our most popular programs. A lot of students love going to Yonsei and studying abroad. And if you can find courses that meet your requirements in any of those locations, that's certainly something that you should consider. All right. And forgive me, I'm just going to plow through it, and then I can kind of address, I know some questions are coming in, so I'll definitely check the chat box here in a bit. In terms of some other engineering options, I would say, you know, there's some more options that are kind of off the beaten path. You know, University of Melbourne in Australia is an excellent engineering school. It takes forever and a day to get there, so not that many students go that far to Australia, but yeah, it's definitely an option. Dublin is another one that's great. University College in Dublin. Cape Town, University of Cape Town in South Africa has a strong engineering program. University of Nicosia in Cyprus has engineering options. And so you will see here some of the lists. There are others. And so, you know, not a lot of people go to those ones as much as they maybe do Asia or other points throughout Europe, but definitely other options that you might want to consider. You never know. So when I kind of briefly just touched on the United Kingdom for the summer options, but if you're interested in going to the UK for longer than a summer or for at some point during the year, they have amazing different options. Right now, EAP, I just checked, looking like they have 11 schools that they're working with in the England area and in Scotland as well. And so probably one of the more popular ones would be University of Edinburgh in the city of Edinburgh, Scotland. They have a great CSE program. There's a lot of computer science courses available at Edinburgh, as well as other engineering. So if you wouldn't mind going up to Scotland, it's a fun city. You know, bring your rain jacket. You never know, but yeah, that University of Edinburgh in Scotland, great options. And there are other schools throughout Scotland too has some pretty great schools for engineering, like St. Andrews in Glasgow and so on. Queen Mary again and University College of London, I'd say, are great options to also look into if you wanted to go abroad during the year. Like say again for fall semester or even for a spring semester. At the bottom of my list, I have Imperial College of London, which is an excellent engineering school, one of the world's best. But unfortunately, Imperial only wants to accept students who can go and study abroad for a whole year with them. And so we've tried to get them to narrow it down to a semester, but haven't gotten there yet. But if you wanted to go for a whole year and spend it in London, I guarantee you will find the courses that you're looking for at Imperial College of London. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I'm going to kind of address a couple of the questions. One question that came in is, how competitive are the research programs? You know, again, EAP works with all of the schools throughout the system, and they give each school a certain number of spots, right? So let's say you're applying for a research program and we only have 5 spots or 3 spots. Those spots are full, but it's hard to answer that question because sometimes, you know, another campus might not fill all their spots. So sometimes there's a little horse trading going on behind the scenes. Other times, you know, it can be really competitive. We kind of see it all over the place. So the follow-up question is, should I apply to more than one? The answer to that is no. You should apply to the one that you want to apply for. If you apply to more than one, our system won't know which one you really want, and you may not get any of them. So get into our office virtually anyway and talk with our advisors, and then they can kind of put you on their radar and keep you up to date in terms of any kind of potential impacted programs. A question, how do we know if it's impacted from the website? EAP doesn't really make that mention. We get lists in the back door from the advisors, and the reason why they don't make that public facing information is because impacted status is very fluid. It changes all the time, and it's very different. Some campuses, it's impacted differently. So just be in contact with our office and we'll be able to tell you which ones are impacted or not. All right. Let's see, I'm going to jump back here so I can go through my slides. I wanted to let you all know about a new program, and I would love it if some of you say, yeah, I've been taking linear algebra. I'm afraid most of you, if not all of you, may have taken linear algebra, but there's a quick story behind this program. EAP is launching a new program this coming summer in Rome, in the city of Rome in Italy, where you can take linear algebra in Rome. You only have to have a 2.0. It's in English. You would take linear algebra plus 1 elective. And they created this program because they wanted to reach out to the younger engineering students throughout the system, particularly at UCSD, because we have so many engineering students. So if you haven't taken linear algebra and you want to take it this summer in Rome, you know, you should look into this program. We used to offer a program geared for seniors in Munich, Germany, but seniors would never want to go abroad their senior year because this summer, because they're on internships. They're getting paid by Qualcomm or doing paid internships in California or wherever. So that program didn't work out as good. So now they're trying the other end of the spectrum, getting the young students who are just starting college. And so if you're interested in that and you haven't taken linear algebra, might be something to consider. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes we do get students who are interested in taking engineering and other courses in another language. They may have grown up speaking Spanish or French or something, and they are fine with taking courses in another language. We do have those options for you. I'd say the 3 biggest ones are in Rio for Portuguese. You can go to Pontifical Catholic University. I would say in Chile, University of Santiago in Chile has a great engineering program. University of Bordeaux in France has also great engineering, and they teach mostly in French. So if you speak another language and you wanted to potentially take engineering courses in another language, come and talk to me. We can kind of we can have that conversation. But most students that I talk to say engineering is hard enough. I'd rather just stick to English than take engineering in English, and that's kind of what that's fine too. And that's what most students do. I wanted to kind of shift gears a little bit and make you all aware of a great internship program. I know a lot of students approach our office wanting to do internships. And in terms of the opportunities to do it in engineering, there aren't as many as, say, you know, political science or international studies or something like that. But UC Davis actually has a really great program where you can go and take do an internship over the summer. It's a summer program in either Japan or Barcelona in Spain, where they would place you in an engineering firm, some kind of firm it's not a university-based placement, but rather a firm. And you would work with that internship, that company or whatever over the summer. And it's out of UC Davis. So you would potentially, they offer like a class, like an internship class, and it's mostly for obviously your resume. If you wanted to get an internship, a global internship under your belt, that's what most people are attracted to. But you can also get UC credit through this internship course that's offered through Davis as well. So something to think about. They used to have more options like Argentina and I think a couple others, but I just looked on their website and it's looking like it's Japan and Spain. A word about this program, it's grown in popularity. And so if you're really interested in it, I encourage you to go on the Davis website. I would just Google UC Davis study abroad engineering summer, and you will find it. And it's a really good option. And next week, we're actually going to be having an Expo fair, and the Davis folks are going to be virtually on campus on Wednesday. And I'll speak a little bit about Expo in a little bit to talk to you about these great programs in doing professional internships. Also, non-UC or non-UC EAP programs, we do have a section of our portfolio of programs that we work with in our office called OIP. And what OIP is it stands for Opportunities Abroad Program. And it's basically a consortium or a network of study abroad programs that is not affiliated with the University of California. So if you've ever heard of like Semester at Sea or ISA or CIEE or IES, there's a ton of study abroad providers. We invite our students to go with them if they want. Just know that if you do, the classes that you take can come in and be applied toward engineering or other requirements, but those classes are going to come in as transfer credit, because unlike EAP, which is a UC construct where you earn UC credit, OAP is non-UC, and so you'd be earning transfer credit. And then if you are interested in doing that, sometimes you get an out-of-state student who's like, man, OIP is cheaper than paying this out-of-state, tuition that UC is charging me. They can do that. And I would point them to AIFS, API, Arcadia, Boston U, CEA, IES, IFSA Butler, or SIT. Those are the providers that have engineering programs that you might find interesting. And again, transfer credit. A lot of those programs are affordable, so you might be really attracted to the price point on those. So something to think about if EAP didn't give you what you're looking for, that kind of thing. I mentioned Expo. Please go to Expo, our website, studyabroad.ucsd.edu, and click on the Expo link at the top of our page, and you can register. It's a real quick registration. Just put your name and email, and we'll send you information about next Wednesday's UC fair. And there's also a whole bunch of cool study abroad focused events that you could register for as well in terms of in terms of next week's program, which is going to be happening October 19th through the 21st. So definitely welcome. You're welcome to that. So Expo is going to be huge. Hopefully you can make it to that. I know that there's been some questions. Alejandra, thank you for kind of keeping us in check here. And so I had a great question, simple but so profound. How to apply? How does one apply to study abroad? And that's a great question. Right now is fall quarter, and this is the quarter that typically is research mode, right? Students are just learning about study abroad. They're getting on our website, they're researching. Application deadlines for EAP tend to come up first. And so if you wanted to go abroad as early as this summer or next fall, the deadlines for EAP's summer and fall programs are going to start rolling starting in January typically. And so you're going to want to apply through our website. EAP has their application process, but we have a portal, an application portal called Triton's Abroad. And basically you would be putting your EAP or your global seminars or whatever application into that portal. If you have a passport photo, we'll want that. All the stuff that we ask for goes into that portal. So that's essentially how you apply. And the application process is fairly simple. We want you to tell us what classes you're going to be taking, and that's pretty much, the majority of it is doing your academic plan. Once you apply and get accepted, then all that other stuff like finding housing, figuring out your visa, figuring out the plane ticket, all that stuff can come after the application process. Had a question. How do we find the recording for this webinar? The Idea Center is going to be releasing a recording of this webinar. Give Alejandra a few days to kind of work her magic, and you should be able to find it on the Idea Center there at Jacobs. Had a question, are all these taught in English? Most of the ones are taught in English, except for the ones that I mentioned, like Pontifical and Santiago, Chile, and the Bordeaux in France. Some we don't have in English, but most of the ones in engineering are going to be in English. And so definitely a great question, and want to reinforce that. Even if you go to a place like Spain, I failed to mention, and I actually created a slide, but I didn't see it, but I wanted to give a shout out to Carlos III University in Madrid, Spain. That is a great example of what I'm about to say. So Carlos III in Madrid, they speak Spanish, obviously, it's in Spain, but they also teach courses in English. And so if you wanted to go to Spain and take engineering, the only one that I'm really aware of is Carlos III. Most students who go to Spain go there to take Spanish. They want to take courses in Spanish in Barcelona or Cadiz or Cordoba or wherever. But if you wanted to take engineering in Spain, I would focus in on Carlos III in Madrid. So let's see here. Will UCSD bioengineering accept those courses? That's a great question. I wish the answer to that is yes. I cannot confirm nor deny because I'm not in charge of the courses. So the crazy thing is, it would be awesome if I could just wave a wand and say, all these courses are going to count, but it's not my courses. The courses need to be vetted by bioengineering. They need to be vetted by nanoengineering or whatever your major is. Your advisor, when you start doing your research and you're going on our website and you're saying, gosh, I really do like Lund, or man, I'm really looking at this program in Taiwan, or man, I really want to do this one. And you find some courses, you can PDF those courses and take them on over or email them, whatever they want, to your advisors in bioengineering, in CSE, in ECE, and so on. And then those advisors will be the ones that'll tell you yes or no, we can accept these courses. We encourage you also, let's say you're going to Lund, Sweden, and one semester of study in Lund will involve around 3 to 4 courses. That's typically what semester programs schedules look like, right? And so let's say you wanted to take 2 courses in engineering. If you could find 3 or 4 courses, a couple backups, that would be even better, because that way, if your first choice falls through, you will have a couple backups that you can kind of go and say, well, what about these courses? And I got to say, the path of least resistance in terms of courses tends to be technical electives. If you can find courses that'll meet a technical elective, it makes it a little easier for the advisors to then say, yeah, we could accept that. But if you're looking to say, okay, I have to meet this one course in ECE, and so whatever I find has to exactly match that course, that's a lot harder. And so not to say it can't be done, because it has been done before, but just know that technical electives tend to be the main focus. Somebody asked the question, is there a list of courses that already have UCSD course equivalencies? Yes, in MAE, ECE, and CSE, they've kept a list of courses. Not sure how current those courses are, but you can at least start there. So go on those. If you belong to those 3 or one of those 3 majors, you can go on their website and yeah, and I'll send Alejandra. I'm going to send Alejandra the PowerPoint, and so we can share that with you, or you can email back message and ask for Jay through Study Abroad, and I'm happy to email it to you. Whether or not courses are already accepted, there are some lists for that. But a big caveat to that is, let's say somebody a couple years ago took the exact same course. I don't know if the professors or the faculty now are going to accept it. So even though a course has been previously taken, there's a big fat disclaimer saying this is historical data. You're still going to have to get it vetted, and you're still going to your academic planning form to your department, they're still going to need to sign off on it. But if it's already happened and been successful, usually it is going to be successful again. It's just that you don't want to assume that it's going to be accepted. So hopefully that answers that question. What's the difference between transfer credit and UC credit? So if you go study abroad with a program that's affiliated with the University of California, let's say you do a UCSD Global Seminars or UC EAP program, that's part of the UC California system. The credits that you earn on that program are automatically UC credit, right? You get it because it's UC. Transfer credit is if you go on any program that is not affiliated with the University of California. Okay, so if you go on semester C or go on, you know, IFSA Butler or, you know, SIT, one of the programs we work with, you're going to become, it'll come in as transfer credit. You can apply those classes to your engineering major, your GE, it just won't be calculated into your GPA. And that's frankly why a lot of students want EAP, because it's right there. The EAP gets calculated into your GPA. EPA brings that UC credit automatically. It's all kind of integrated within the UC realm, if you will. But I just mentioned OIP and transfer credit just because I want you to make sure that you know, you have options if you wanted to explore farther a field, let's say, than just EAP. How competitive are the summer research EAP programs, the Asia ones? Japan, very competitive. Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, less so. So yeah, programs in Japan definitely are highly impacted. But if you're interested in going to Japan and maybe even during the year, I would talk to our Japan advisor. Her name's Rachel. There's a lot of options in Japan once they allow us back in the country post-COVID. You know, there's a lot of great options in Japan. Question about dual citizenship with the EU. Does that impact costs at European universities? Not really, not if you go, it would if you were to do a direct enroll. If you say, I'm just gonna go to this university, forget EAP, I'll just go on my own. I mean, that could happen. But typically if you go abroad with EAP, the costs are the same for across the board, just whether you have EU citizenship or not, if you go to a country. If you are an out-of-state or international student, and you want to go abroad through EAP during the academic year, there may be non-resident fees attached. And so that might drive up the cost a bit. And so that's why in those cases, students might be attracted to an OAP or a non-EAP program. And so yeah, definitely just look into the costs, and each program will have a list of a cost tab, just like an academics tab, where it kind of breaks down what the costs look like. Had a question regarding having a plan A and B. What are the restrictions on applying for multiple programs? Students, this person thought that they remembered seeing that students aren't able to apply for more than one program. EAP they may have turned it on now. They may not let you. Before, in years past, certainly before COVID, we would have students applying to many programs. I don't know what the record is, but I think 10 or something that I saw. Say you get a student who applies to 10 programs. They're like, I just want to hedge my bets. I just want to apply to as many programs as possible. We're going to get programs, 10 different ones. There's no way for us to know which one is your favorite one, or second favorite one, or third favorite one. Those spots, 10 spots have just been taken potentially for one person. And that's problematic. So we would have a bit of a headache trying to, run down students who apply for multiple programs and say, which program do you really want? Because that's the one we'll try to get you into. And so just, again, I'll reiterate this again. Instead of feeling anxious about getting into a program and you apply to everything, apply to the one you want. Apply to the program that interests you the most. And then have a backup plan. Do that research and have a backup plan, but go into our office, speak to our advisors and say, I'm really interested in this program. It's important to remember, not all of the EAP programs are impacted. I have never seen Lund in Sweden, for instance, turn away people. As long as you have that GPA and you meet the class requirement, that's fine. It's only the more impacted ones like the Japan engineering research ones that I told you about, because those are super small. I mean, we're talking about 10 or so students in a team, right? So they can accommodate a ton of students. So yes, some programs are impacted, others aren't. Don't apply to a ton of different ones. Apply to the one you want and tell us. And then we can kind of work with you at getting into the program that best fits. And worst case scenario, you can't get into the one you want, we'll help you get into that backup one. So wow, such amazing questions. And I feel like I've just flown through them all and probably missed some of them. If I did not answer your question, feel free to throw it in the chat again. But let's see.
I do have one question, Jay, that was directly messaged to me.
Yeah.
When are programs for other years, such as fall of 2022 or summer of 2023, normally posted?
That's a great question. If you're looking in the future and you're not ready to go now, we typically post new programs over the summer. And so EAP will update their portfolio list, and Global Seminars will update their portfolio list, and we'll post up over the summer. And so if you're not ready to go until fall of 23 or beyond, I would just check back over the summer. You will find that for EAP especially, you will find the same programs. And so their portfolio, their choices of programs, they don't differ that greatly. There is some new programs added, and then they'll suspend others that haven't been performing well. But in general, if you just kind of take a look back over your summer break, before, ideally, I tell students, look, ideally, apply roughly, do your research and get ready to apply a year before you think you can hop on the plane. So for instance, it's fall 21 right now. If you wanted to study abroad fall of next year, fall 22, now's the time to be looking at the EAP website, our website, and so on. The application deadlines are going to come up, like I said, starting in January, and work on a rolling process. Some are going to be due in January, some are going to be due in February, some are going to be due in March, and so on. And so, you have that opportunity to kind of look in the future and know, okay, this program has been running for a couple of years, so I can count on it probably being around next year. Great question that came in. How competitive is Korea, Singapore programs in general? Korea, I don't believe is very competitive. We send tons of students to Yonsei. And so I know that there's a bunch of students there now. They are weirdly, this semester, Yonsei is doing online virtual, but students still wanted to be in Seoul. Of course, it's Seoul, right? So they're there, but taking online. So it's exciting, but Singapore and Korea typically aren't that competitive. Not like Japan. Japan is super competitive. And I would say in Europe, UK, there's so many options. It just really depends. You can find a spot in the UK, and what is attractive to students to go to Europe, if I'm being completely honest, is the travelability, right? You can go to a lot of different countries if you're kind of stationed in Europe, stationed in that area. And so if you're looking at Europe and you really want, I would look at, again, Lund University. I would look at Carlos Tercero in Spain. I would look at a number of different UK or Scotland universities. Maastricht in the Netherlands is a potential offer and is a potential opportunity. And then Berlin in Germany. In Technical University in Berlin. All those have some pretty good programs. Is it too late for summer 22 programs? No, it is not too late for summer 22 programs. I would get on our website and I would schedule an appointment to talk with one of the team here in Study Abroad. I would say if, let's say you didn't want to do engineering, you wanted to do a gen ed, and you wanted to do global seminars. The global seminars application cycle for summer 22 opens up in November. And so the cycle for EAP summer 22, we're accepting apps now. You can do it now. And then the deadline for summer is usually, like I said, started in January. So is it too late for summer? No, but the clock is ticking. Don't wait till week 10 to get in and talk to us, because we want to make sure that you have enough time to take the courses that you want to take and get them vetted by your advisors. All right. quick word about the advising. Again, I know I mentioned this. I don't want to kind of restate stuff that I've already said, but if you want to take courses to satisfy your general education requirements, you're going to want to take those courses to your college advisors, and they're going to vet those courses. If you want to take courses for your engineering major, you're going to want to take those courses to your engineering department and get them vetted by the advisors. And so there's two different processes going on with the advisors. If you wanted to go on a study abroad program and take both GEs and engineering, well, gosh, you're going to have to talk to two sets of advisors then, right? And when you are ready to apply, the application for EAP, part of that application process is going to have something called an APF, or an academic planning form. And that form, you're going to list out all the courses that you want to take and whether or not they're going to stand for your engineering major or for GEs. And then you have to take that form around and get your advisors to sign off on it. But the conversations about whether or not the courses will count should happen before that form gets circulated. Question about, do most students take technical electives or general major specific curriculum abroad? You know, that's a great question. I used to have data on this where I would look before the pandemic. We kind of got thrown off course here last 20 months or so, but before the pandemic, I would run numbers of EAP students in engineering. And it wasn't 50-50, but there was a good amount on either side. Students who were only taking gen ed courses in engineering. They're like, I'm just going to take all my engineering at Jacobs. Thanks. I'm good. But I do want to study abroad this summer and take the global seminars or takes a couple of history courses or whatever. Nothing having to do with engineering. And then the other huge group that I would see is students from engineering actually taking engineering courses. And again, technical electives. I know some majors in engineering, they don't have a lot of technical electives. Others have more. So I know that's something to think about, but if you do have technical electives, you know, that's a pretty good way to satisfy technical electives if you do it abroad. Another question I usually get is when? When is the most popular time that engineering students go abroad? If you look at the data, I would say junior year, third year, that tends to be very popular. Although we're trying to change that. Like I said, that linear algebra program that we're offering, that's open to sophomores, you know, status, you can do it as early as this summer. And then sometimes, you know, we don't get too many engineering students their senior year wanting to study abroad in the summer because, like I said, they're doing paid internships, but you know, it's kind of like, you know, just really looking at your own situation. You know, if you're a transfer student or if you're going to fifth year or if you're trying to accelerate out, whatever it is, kind of look at your time frame, look at your academic plan, and then make a determination to see, well, what's best for me. What are pros and cons to taking engineering courses instead of GEs and vice versa? Before I jump into that question, I'll say the pros and cons of summer versus during the year. The pros to summer is you can just go in summer and you don't have to worry about changing classes up at Jacobs during the year, all of that. It's fun, it's summer, it's right, it's awesome. The con in summer is it's shorter. A semester-based program, you're gonna be abroad for 15, 16 weeks, whereas summer, it might only be 7, 6, 5 weeks sometimes, right? So that's kind of the pros and cons with that. Pros and cons of taking engineering classes versus GEs. There's no real pros and cons. I would say a pro with taking engineering courses abroad is that you could potentially state towards a future employer or a grad program that you took engineering in a global context, that, you know, you worked on an engineering issue or you were taking engineering at the University of wherever internationally, because, you know, a lot of engineering firms are very global and they would look very kindly and nicely on a resume that has some international experience. The pros, the cons to taking engineering abroad is, like I said, not everywhere offers engineering. The ones that I mentioned in this presentation, they do, but we have a lot of other programs that really don't offer a lot of engineering. So the pro to taking GEs abroad would be more choice. Let's say you really, really wanted to go to Barcelona. Well, I don't know that many engineering options in Barcelona, only in Madrid. So you may need to take language in Barcelona or something like that. So just, you know, hopefully that kind of answer the pro and con thing, but it's really up to each individual student and what you're looking for. Are there any paid internships and research programs abroad? Not that our office really does. We're an educational unit, so that we typically will be having students who pay for the opportunity to earn credit and get research and internships. That being said, we do come across some opportunities to go abroad towards the end of your career or even after you graduate. If you've ever heard of the Fulbright, that's an option that you could go overseas and get paid. DAAD, the German Academic Exchange, offers internships where they'll pay room and board for engineering students, but I think that's postdoc or post-grad too. I'm not sure, but usually, yeah, you pay for the opportunity to go abroad. And I always get that question because I know you guys are always getting paid internships, and so I totally get that. And I know we're running up on time here. I do have one other question. Is it unheard of or possible to study abroad during the summer and during the fall or spring quarter semester? The answer is yes, it is possible, and it's not unheard of. Some students we laugh. It's like, they're addicted to study abroad. They're on their third trip or something. It depends on the major. Some majors do limit how many classes or credits you can bring into the major. So that's something that you'll want to check with the advisors about. Generally speaking, for engineering students, I don't run into this problem. I don't think there's a limit to how many courses you can do abroad if you're an engineering major, but it's so hard to figure out all the classes. So, if you can make it once abroad, then, you're a winner. Because remember, you have to take all of your courses, but you have to make sure if it's abroad that those courses are going to be available. And so that's something to think about. But if you are, maybe you're double majoring or you're doing a fifth year, you got more time in your hands, potentially, yeah, you could go abroad a second time. Yeah, absolutely.
Then I will go ahead and just let everyone know it is 1:52, so we are past time. However, I just want to thank Jay for presenting today. I know there are a lot of great questions that were asked. And I know you had mentioned the Study Abroad Virtual Expo next week, so students can drop in.
Please come to Virtual Expo. It is, I'll just put it in Study Abroad ucsd.edu/expo. There's the link to it. So feel free to just click on it, register for it. Next week, if you got some time, if you look at some of those sessions that are available, EAP's running a bunch. And like I said, the internships that Davis is doing, they're going to be on campus virtually next Wednesday. And you can learn all about that on our website too. So, and I'll send Alejandra I'll send you the PowerPoint. So
perfect, thank you.
That as well.
So I'll definitely make sure to share the PowerPoint slides with those who attended today, but you will also see a recording of this presentation on the Idea Center YouTube channel. Awesome. Thank you everyone so much for coming by. I hope you all got a lot of good information today.
Thank you all. Hope to see you on the plane. Bye.